first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club. The second rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
This is Director's Cut with Rich Kenyon.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles.
I want you to rest well, and a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's gonna give you what you want.
Too late, they start shooting in a week.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Immortals. We put their name to the test.
Your host, Rich Kenyon.
Well, hello there, and welcome to the Director's Cut with Rich Kenyon. I am Rich Kenyon, and I am here with my good friend Dutchie. Hey, Dutchie.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm very good. How about yourself?
Cannot complain.
No complaints?
Lots, but none tonight.
On. Go on.
All right. We've only got an hour.
Right, indeed. We only have an hour. How's your week? Did you see any movies? Did you do any of the movie stuff?
I didn't go out and see any movies.
Yeah.
Was gonna.
Yeah.
But I was too damn tired.
Were you?
Yeah.
That's part of it, isn't it?
I know. When you go and get your hair cut and you fall asleep while she's cutting your hair, you know a movie next is not the best thing to do.
That's crazy. How's my engineer doing?
I'm doing very well. Yeah,
just
hanging out.
Did you get a chance to see a movie this week?
No. Did I?
Life gets in the way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there was some stuff that I watched. I watched a documentary called Blackfish, and it's all about SeaWorld whenever they were.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that one was really good.
No, I didn't know.
That's an in-depth kind of thing, isn't it?
It really was. I learned a lot from that. A lot of stuff that brought back memories too, because whenever all that stuff was going on, I was pretty young.
Yeah.
So it was all in the news and stuff like that.
We went to SeaWorld when I was a kid, and I was like 11 or 12. We just come down to California, and we were in SeaWorld, and we were going to watch Shamu, and it was all really exciting. It was the Shamu at the time. And I bought this really cool sweater. And this bird flew over and nailed me.
Oh, no.
Right the way down my arm. Honestly, it's true. It was,
and that's the best memory.
That's the best memory that I have of SeaWorld.
Did you have good luck after that?
That's what
the
they
question.
say. Everyone says, but it's good luck. It's good luck. No, it wasn't for me because it ruined that sweater. But you know what? As they say, I'm living a semi-charmed kind of life. So I'm blessed to do what I do.
Exactly,
and,
yeah.
To do it here in Southern California. So yeah, last week was fun. Was kind of cool and different. Hey?
Yeah, very different. I know before we came on the air, we spoke about it a little bit. You know, I'd never been in a position where I sit and interview someone outside of a bunch of drunk punks. You know, and it's and you can say and do what you like, and there's no seriousness about it. You know, so it was a totally different situation. It was amazing for me to learn that you were born in the UK.
Yeah.
That straight away was like, wow, really? Especially in what I consider to be my favorite city in Europe, as far as how friendly people are, and you can go and party in Liverpool.
Yeah.
And it's a music city. It's a music. It's everything's music.
It is, isn't it?
And so it blew me away. And then your Shakespearean stuff, you know. And again, you know, you're limited for time. You have a 1 hour show, and there was so much to ask you.
Yeah.
And the questions go in and out of your head. And a question I didn't ask you, but we touched on it afterwards, based on previous conversations of what we like as far as movies and TV are concerned.
Yeah.
Was my love for Star Trek and oh wow, Patrick Stewart is nothing but loves Shakespeare and acting more than being on film. Tell everyone what you told me.
This is an honest, true honest to God, true story, and it can be corroborated by many people. But back in 1990, I was living in Vancouver, Canada, and I was going to theater school, and I was just 22 years old, and a huge fan of Star Trek: The Next Generation. They had a huge Star Trek convention come to town, and Patrick Stewart was going to be there. And this was unheard of at the time, that he was going to show up. There was rumors, but no, they said he's going to be there. So we went. I went with my girlfriend at the time, now wife, and one of my best friends, and we waited for the better part of 6.5 hours. Wow. And walked around this little place and, talked to people and all these people dressed up in costume. And it's back in the day when to be a Trekker, as they prefer to be called, was a hardcore thing. Now a lot of people do it, and it's great. But back then it was the chosen, the hardcore fans that did it. So anyway, we get there, and there's this huge kind of agrodome in Vancouver, and there's 5,000 people there. And we all sort of are sitting in, and out comes Patrick Stewart. And the place goes bananas, and he starts talking, and basically does like a one-man show and says, at the end I'll ask questions if there's any questions. And he ends up doing a particularly beautiful speech from Julius Caesar. Now, this is all Trekkers, so they, it's a nice kind of round of, that was good, I guess. I don't know. I was just enraptured by this guy. He just absolutely blew me away. And so he keeps talking, and he says, are there any questions? And I put my hand up and pick somebody else and ask the question. Does this again and again, and finally says, look, last question. Any questions? So I jump up, and I'm waving my arms. And he's like, you in the back. And I said, oh, that's fantastic. I wonder if I could ask you a question about, and he stops me. He says, stop. Listen to his voice. And this is honestly, this is true. Listen to his voice. And so then Patrick Stewart turns to me and says, are you an actor? And I am. I'm training to be an actor. And he's like, oh, you have such a great voice. You have such a great voice. I'm like, that's great. What was your question? I'm like, I don't remember. I think it was about Shakespeare. Yeah, you're going to do Shakespeare. But what an amazing moment for me.
To stop you in mid-sentence and go.
Because I just thought, oh, no. What is he going to say? No, we run out of time. And good night, folks, and get out of here. And I thought, no, it's got to be something else. But I look forward to meeting him someday, and I'm going to open with that story. And hopefully, and I think that he would, but hopefully he'll remember all those years ago when I was a crazy young actor learning. So that's my Patrick Stewart story.
Yeah. Jean-Luc Picard.
Yeah, absolutely. And an actor I absolutely admire. And any Shakespeare fans out there, he does a particularly great film of Macbeth. They did a play version of it, and then they filmed that version. And he's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I need to go and see, just because of my love for Star Trek.
Yeah.
And then I discovered, after years of saying, I don't want to watch it, I watched X-Men. And once I watched the first one, I watched the second, third, and fourth one. And again, the guy is phenomenal. And knowing his background and knowing his love for theatre, and especially Shakespeare. Because Shakespeare to me is foreign.
Yeah.
Which sounds weird coming from the UK.
I think most people would say that.
I
think you're right.
So once I went to see a full-blown philharmonic orchestra, well, twice, and both times fell asleep.
Yeah.
Wasn't my cup of tea.
No,
and I don't think going to see Shakespeare play with Patrick Stewart, but I need to go do it anyway.
Yeah.
Whether it's him or whether it's someone else. Just to see what the difference is in,
Yeah. There's a scene, and we talked a little bit about this, but there's my favorite Star Trek, The Next Generation series of films is Generations. And there's a scene in that movie, for those of you that haven't seen it, you should see it. When people say, why do you love acting, and why do you love actors so much? I show them this scene. And it's a scene where Jean-Luc Picard, and there's some spoilers here, but you should go and see it anyway, is told early on in the film, an event that has happened to his family. And he's alone in his office, in his ready room, and in comes Deanna Troi, and she simply asks one question that launches this all out of him, and she says, "What happened?" And he starts this soliloquy, this monologue about the news that he has received. And it's extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary how he delivers it, the passion that he has for it, the specificity of choices that he makes. And you watch it and you have tears in your eyes. You do, because it's heartbreaking.
Would you say that he actually delivers it the same way he would deliver Shakespeare?
To me, yes. Yeah.
And how the hell can you get away with that as the captain of a starship on Star Trek?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you look at what was before and what was after, and you think it was so out of place.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But he does. You know, is how an Englishman with such a posh English accent is a Frenchman.
Yeah.
Right. And but there's plenty of plenty of stories that show you the reasons why.
Yeah.
Throughout the 7 years of it, you know.
Yeah. He's that good though.
But that amazed me last week when we sat down.
Yeah.
And it was a one-on-one.
Yeah.
It was a me asking you.
Yeah.
That you started Shakespeare companies.
I did. Yeah.
And they're still going today.
Yeah, it's still almost 22 years going on.
Do you ever go and see them?
I haven't been back to Calgary since we came down here, and I want to.
Do they post stuff that you can watch?
They do. They have clips. I know the artistic director. I know the stuff that he's done. I miss it. I absolutely do. Absolutely do. It's you know, I was in an edit suite all week, sort of finishing off my short film, and the editor was asking, I'm not into, we were talking about movies, and I said, do you watch a lot of movies? I hate movies. I work on movies all the time. So, okay. So we got around to talking about a little bit of theater, and I said, I love theater. I love going to theater. Theater actors. I said, well, some of the best actors that we love, their roots are in the theater. No, I don't think that's true, he said. I said, well, what about The Godfather? I love Pacino. Well, you know where Pacino started, right? In the theater. No way. And so it was this education for people to understand that theater is the bedrock, I think, for actors to learn the craft. And that's where Patrick Stewart did, doing rep theater. He was at the Royal Shakespeare Company in the late 60s, early 70s. Doing all of those parts, this huge part, thousands of words to learn. That's where you develop the art form. That's the nucleus. I would rather work with an actor on film that had a theater background than an actor that didn't.
I think we forget that they have to spend that time. Because they deliver it as if it's real life.
Yeah.
And when you said that, I'm like, I forget that the 3 plays that I did as a 12-year-old, I sit at home and actually learn the lines and learn what the next person was going to say, and then what she was going to say, and then it's me saying this, and I'm not going to remember that.
Yeah.
And then you see these guys, and it's just so natural to them.
Yeah.
Does it amaze you that more moviegoers don't go to the theater?
It does. It really does, because I think theater gets a bad rap. I think it gets a really bad, unfortunate reputation for being, it's too big, and it's a difficult art form because it's live, and this is the irony.
Is it expensive to go? Is that possibly a reason? You know,
maybe some of the shows at the Geffen.
Right.
Yeah.
But I do believe that, you know, with prices getting so high to go to movies, I believe going to the theater can actually be less expensive.
Yeah, I think so. But it's a risk. I don't think there's much of a risk when we go to the movies. Or if there is, it's $12 or sometimes $6 if
right.
it's a second run
right.
theater, right? The theater can be $40, $50, $60. and it's a risk. My wife and I went to see Al Pacino in a play called, oh my gosh, I can't even remember. God Overlooked. Or God, it was dreadful, and it had Al Pacino in it. God Looked Away. That was at a Pasadena Playhouse. $120 ticket for both of us. $240 we spent to see Al Pacino.
And it was terrible.
And it was terrible.
Now, when you see that and it was terrible, do you, as it's becoming terrible, because it's what, a 2-hour play?
Oh, it was 3 hours.
3 hours.
Yeah, it was so long.
Do you start breaking it down individually and going, well, you know what, it's terrible, but Pacino's fantastic, or this person's fantastic, or, oh my God, I thought Pacino would be able to bring this out, and he's not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm...
You do. I think you absolutely do. It's like you and I share a passion for soccer, for football. You can go to a match. It can be 8-0, 9-0, 10-0. But you can still watch your favorite player. Either they're winning big or they're losing big. And there's always a takeaway from those games.
Yeah.
As there is when I'm watching the theater. I was watching Pacino and the specificity that he had, because he doesn't stop talking for basically the entire play. And I was watching the craftsmanship at work. And that, to me, I think is what's kind of overlooked. It looks easy. It looks really...
Especially on film.
Oh, does it? It looks so easy, doesn't it?
It looks way more difficult when you go to the theatre. And I discovered small theatres about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like tiny theatres.
Yeah, like just
50 seats.
50 seats.
You know?
Yeah.
And it was like, you're there. You're on the stage with them just about, you know?
Yeah.
Especially, and this was an interesting one. Went to see a play about the New York Dolls and Malcolm McLaren and how punk rock went from New York to the UK.
Yeah.
And was in the front row. And there's 8 seats wide and 10 seats deep. So there's 80-odd people there. That was it, right? Tiny little place. Sound system was great. Actors are right in your face. You hear the footsteps coming, you know, everything, every little scratch. But it was so personal.
Yeah.
Right? And it was totally different because they get you involved, and a movie can't get you involved. A movie can't ad-lib, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure we don't know if they ad-lib because we only see it one time when we're in the theater.
Yeah.
And obviously the bigger theater, you know, I can't imagine that Pacino's going to ad-lib. It's a script, but you don't know.
Yeah.
You probably do. Do they or don't they?
Well, I think sometimes they do. Sometimes actors forget lines and they love it, and I think that's why I love the theater for that way, the immediacy of it. And it's like this right now. We're having this dialogue. We haven't scripted this. I don't really know what I'm going to say next. I sort of do. But there's a thrill to that, to surf that edge. Film is repetition. Cut, go back, start again. The lighting was wrong. The actor got the line wrong. We'll go again. So there's a freedom, I think, that actors have in film that they don't have in theater. Theater's the exposure of that, the exposed nerve, as it were, you know?
Yeah. And when you watch it on film, it is right. It's not wrong. It's how they wanted it done because they get to do it.
Yeah.
2 times if it's right, or 50 times if you don't get it right.
Exactly.
You know, and that live, that being live, it adds the adrenaline. You know, as a musician, I know that I can get it wrong in a studio, and we just stop and we go back and go do that again. And I know that when we play live, I just screwed it up. But you can't let it affect you. You got to go forward because the people in front of you don't know that.
Yeah.
And some of the best moments can come out of that.
It's so true. We there's a story. I just remembered the story. I think it's really funny. As an actor on stage, you're very aware of the audience. You're absolutely aware that they are present with you. And one night we were doing a Shakespeare show, Much Ado About Nothing, and there was this particularly attractive lady with very long legs in the front row. And she was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And I think every male in the show performed just to her that night. Because because you have that, you see them, you hear them, you feel the breath, you smell the audience there. It's a visceral kind of thing. And this was, we were just, we were all in awe of her legs.
And she knew it.
It was a great show. And she knew it. And she could easily say, all of the men in this show are performing just for me.
Wow, is that obvious?
She wouldn't be wrong. Yeah, she wouldn't be wrong because you can sense that.
So did that affect the female cast?
I think they were probably aware of it as well. But we were well into the run. We've been doing this play for 3 or 4 months.
And when you were having beers after, what was the conversation?
Oh, it was, did anyone get her number? No. No one got her number, and we did the show for her.
That's just wrong.
It was fantastic. The joys of live theater.
Yeah. It's like different cities around the world.
Yeah.
Broadway.
Yeah.
New York. London, I forget the name of the street. Oh, my God. Right there between Leicester Square and Piccadilly Circus.
Well, you're in Soho. No,
it is Soho, but yeah, there's a name of the street. I forget it.
Trafalgar, no. We're gonna say
you go around the world,
Yeah.
and you have the theater district,
Mm-hmm.
Have you been to many of them?
I have. Actually, I've been to, I've seen some amazing theater shows in London. Absolutely. We saw Ray Fiennes on stage at the Royal National Theatre. And he was 5 feet from me in this play that was, it was extraordinary. It's called The Talking Cure by Christopher Hampton. And it was so powerful. It was so intimate. And he is so good. As an actor, he was just so good. It blew me away.
There's actors that do both.
Yeah.
There's actors that are just theater actors that are super famous and make it as good a living as the superstars in movies.
They do, yeah.
Do you know? I couldn't name you one of them.
I could, yeah. Broadway has a bunch of actors that are like that. In England, Derek Jacobi, he does a lot of stuff. Lots of British actors are able to do that, sort of bounce around. They have that ability to work both in television and in theater. And it's kind of accepted. In Hollywood, I don't know so much. And I'm not sure George Clooney could do a play. Although he should. But I don't.
Yeah, I wonder if he does.
I wonder if he would think, or the publicity machine behind him might think that's a step down. And we don't do theater. That's for theater. But I don't know.
I always think of theater as just a posh version of a film. Like I don't think it was as a downgrade. I think it was an upgrade. I mean, I'm seeing these people in person. I can go to any movie theater anywhere in the world and see this at this time.
Yeah.
And I often think about this. I was in, especially when someone famous dies, if I saw that person.
Yeah.
When Michael Jackson died, I was in the same room as Michael Jackson 5 times.
Wow.
Because I saw him 5 times live. Right now, to me, that's an upgrade as opposed to and I think about that in theater as well. And again, I've been to very small plays in small places.
Yeah.
I've never been to a major theater for a play.
That's some of the best work, I think. And we have a caller, and I want to get to this caller.
Yes.
Because I know her well.
Yes, we have Luann on line 1.
Total grief. Hello, Luann on line 1.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. We're just talking about theater and the importance of theater nowadays. What do you think?
Yes.
What are your thoughts about that?
The importance of theater?
Yeah.
That's not an insignificant question, is it?
No, not at all.
You know what? I think theater is very important, and one of the reasons I think it's so important is we still need that human contact, and you don't get that from a movie or watching TV. Because when you're in the room with the people that are performing, there's a certain experience that you share not only with the actors but also with other audience members. I mean, we've seen shows together that, you know, people in the audience are having this incredible experience, and I think we just generally people are always seeking that out. And the more we have these existences that are so wrapped in technology and, you know, removed from each other, I think the more people want that shared experience. So I think it plays a really important role that way. And, you know, theater still has the ability to create controversy and to get people talking. I mean, the recent production of Julius Caesar in New York in the park and in the, you know, Shakespeare in the Park in Central Park, where, you know, it was obviously an allusion to Trump, and, you know, people were just going crazy over that. And there was all sorts of, you know, Republicans that were so upset by the notion that, you know, Trump should be portrayed. And, I mean, that's such a tradition in the theater. And you can't get that the same way in a movie because there's a build-up and people know it's going to happen. And in the theater, there's sort of a spontaneity to it, and it, you know, it comes and then it goes, and you can never, you know, you can't capture that. So it just becomes a discussion afterwards of, did you see that production, and what were you doing when you saw that production? And so, yeah, I think it's just got more of a sense of community to it.
We, and this is the interesting thing, is that Dutch and I always talk about this. We always talk about, do you watch a Blu-ray movie, do you watch it at home on the big screen, or do you go to the theater where you're almost guaranteed to have somebody behind you that's kicking the seat or is going to play with a rapper? I think that we need to have those community experiences. Don't you, Dutchie? Don't you think, is that, we don't go to church anymore in the traditional sense that we all go. Now just certain people go. So we lose that weekly connection to people, don't you think?
I think when you go to any of those places, you just you get an experience, and what we were just saying earlier, what about getting the experience not just from what's on stage, but from the audience members around you.
Yeah,
because it creates all of a sudden an energy in the room.
But I'll tell you this: I've been in the movie theater when events have happened on the screen and it has affected all of us. As powerful as a concert or, you know, as going to the theater.
And I apologize for interrupting, but Luann, can you turn off anything that has to do with the app if you're listening over YouTube or anything with Chaotic Radio?
Sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and Luann said it, that, you know what, it's the audience members. Now, you just said it again, but you put 100 people in a room, we feed off of each other.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like when you go to a concert, we went to see U2, and we're all in the same room for the same purpose. That's a very powerful kind of thing in a live event. But also, I was in the same room with 400 or 500 people that we all watched Schindler's List together, and we were all in the same event of what was going on the screen.
Luann?
Yeah, it's. I agree with you, and I think I think the one thing about the experience that you have in the theater that's slightly different is you can't ever reproduce it. Do you know what I mean? Like when you go to, you know, I remember having a similar experience at Schindler's List where, people are just absolutely moved by that. And you can go back and you can see it again and you can experience it again. And I think there's something about theater that every single night is going to be different. Every moment is going to be unique because they're human beings and they can't reproduce it exactly the same every time. And so, you know, I mean, I don't think you can ever say, oh, well, movies are better or a theater is better. I mean, they both coexist and they feed on each other and they contribute to each other. But there's just something about, you know, I would never want to not go to the theater anymore because there's just that unique experience of going, wow, that person is up there. And sometimes you see them make mistakes and, you know, it's so unique in that moment.
Yeah. Do you think, Dutchie, that we are at a place where there can be a play like this production of Julius Caesar that's playing in New York that has such a shift that's kind of shaking things up, or that there's a recent film that just came out, Wonder Woman, that's doing basically the same thing?
I think that no matter what genre, no matter what we're doing in life, every 3 or 4 years, every 5 years, every 10 years, something extraordinary is going to come along.
Yeah.
And we all say we didn't expect that to happen again. And we're all going to be not shocked by it, but surprised and excited by it. And it's going to change what's going to happen in the future.
So why, and this is a pure speculation, and I want to just kind of start this debate here. Why does Wonder Woman do so well right now? It's on the cusp of 600 million worldwide, which is huge. Why is it doing so well now? I'll give that to you, Dutchie, first, and then we'll give it to Luann.
I think because it's the one. Batman's been done many, many times. Superman's been done many, many times. Not only was this a movie that had never been made before, but it was made by a woman.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was made for women. It was made by a woman as a total superhero movie.
Yeah.
And I think that the women who've watched it, and this is my thing from looking at social media posts, women have gone and watched it, and they've put out how fantastic it is. And I have not seen one post back saying, oh, you're saying that because you're a woman. Everyone's taking it for the movie that it is.
Yeah.
And not because I haven't seen the movie, but I'm going to go and see it. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to wait for it to come out on Blu-ray. As I do. Right? That's what I do.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get it. I'm not going to ask questions. I'm just going to go out and buy it.
Yeah.
But I think it's been long awaited. How could Wonder Woman not have been made? And Superman done 20 times.
It blows your mind, doesn't it?
75 years. Luann, what about yourself? You've seen the movie. Why now? Why this movie now? And I know that you and I had talked a little bit about this, but is it the political landscape? Is it the fact that we're now, social media just bombarding as we're looking at the typical male film star differently? And the example that I use is that The Mummy with Tom Cruise is tanking. It's too dreadful. What do you think?
Well, I think, you know what, I think it's like almost a perfect storm of a combination of so many things. I mean, Gal Gadot is really charming, and she's gorgeous, and she's really good, and so she has an appeal. And then you combine that with the fact that, it's a really good script and very well directed. So it's a good movie. Like, it's a fun, really good blockbuster kind of movie. So it's got a good quality to it already. But I think there's this sense, for women anyway, that, and I don't presume to speak for all women, but when it comes to, like, the blockbuster movies that come out in the summer, I can't think of a year when summer movies came out and the big summer movies have come out when I've said to myself, wow, yeah, I really want to see that movie. That movie was made for me, because they're never made for women. Like, it's always very male-oriented, and what do guys want to see? And it's things being blown up and, things from outer space. And it just seems like this was a movie where it was like, wow, okay, like over 50% of the population haven't really been considered. And so I think it's that, that there's, because it's not just appealing to women. I mean, I took our, 11-year-old son, and he loved the movie.
Yeah.
So it's not just appealing to women, but it's more inclusive, I think, in the sense that it's appealing to men and to women. So you're getting that. But I also think, and ever since Trump has been elected, there just seems to be more talk about women's rights again. And, I think in some ways, younger women who haven't maybe, hopefully haven't experienced being discriminated against in the workplace and things like that. Maybe they're not as aware, or they weren't as aware of some of the things that were going on. And then with Trump coming in and all the stuff that's going on, it seems like women are kind of rising up a little bit more, and men as well are going to women's marches. So there's this kind of political atmosphere too. So it's almost like the perfect time for Wonder Woman to come out.
What do you think, Rachel? What do you think about those comments?
I totally agree with Luann. You see that there's a lot of opposition coming from the White House whenever it comes to women's rights, and that's caused a lot of people to stand up and start being more active. And like she said, not just females, but males also.
Yeah.
And what I really liked about the movie, beyond the fact that it was Wonder Woman, and I've always been like a fan of Wonder Woman, and I look back at...
Okay, so I'm going to interrupt you because you have to tell your Wonder Woman story.
When I was a little kid, Linda Carter was, Wonder Woman on TV, and I cringe now when I go back and watch those old episodes. I'm like, I don't think this is about women's equality. But anyway,
I
at the
don't
time,
think it was either. No.
No,
I'm going to agree with you.
I'm pretty sure Steve or Austin got all the credit. But anyway, but I loved that show when I was a little girl, and I just admired Linda Carter so much. And my uncle was living in Los Angeles at the time, and he happened to be friends with Linda Carter's husband at the time. And so as a little girl, I get this letter in the mail, and I didn't know this was coming, but it was, this letter, and it came from California, and it was addressed to me, and I didn't know, who sent this. And I open it up, and it's an 8x10 of Linda Carter as Wonder Woman, and it's signed personally to me.
Wow, that's amazing.
Oh, yeah, and I honestly, I've had that thing in my office over the years. I had as sometimes being when I first started practicing law, most of the people I worked with were men, and I always had a Wonder Woman Barbie doll in my office. And it got lots of looks and comments, or people, and then right next to it, the Linda Carter. But anyway, I've always loved Wonder Woman. So, it's so fun. It's so fun to see this movie now, because it's just, it's a great story. It's a fun story. And one of the things I really, really liked about it was I think the heart of that story isn't about gender. It's really about peace and, finding peace, finding a world without war. And for me, that to me is such an appealing message. And you never get that in a summer blockbuster movie. It's usually the exact opposite.
Oh yeah, so. It's The Dark Knight Rises, right? It's this war. It's always this sort of battle. You're right. You said the perfect storm. It's the right time for this movie, and I think it's going to do amazing things. I think that it will be recognized as one of the movies that did a bit of a seismic shift forward, changing how movies are made, how movies are maybe even marketed, who's directing these movies. I think it's exciting. I think there's a number of films through history that have done this, and I think that Wonder Woman will not be the last, and it will be the one that shifted things. And as politics goes one way, perhaps society, for the most part, maybe looks at going another way, and maybe that's okay. Maybe those two entities need to do that. But anyway, thank you, Luann.
I have a quick question.
Go ahead,
Luann, earlier on you said it wasn't made for the blockbuster movies you go and see were not made for you. They were made for the males.
Who was this? Who do you think this movie was made for? Or I'll leave it at that. Who do you think this movie was made for?
It's really interesting. I think it's hard. I mean, part of me thinks that they really were thinking about women as an audience when they made it. I mean, it's hard to say, right? I mean, it's still a superhero movie. But it's kind of cool in the sense that it's also like quite a diverse cast, which is also quite unique. So, I don't know, but it just, maybe it wasn't that they were trying to make it for one gender or one group, but maybe it was more that they were not trying to make something that excluded anyone.
And I think that's why it's the blockbuster it is.
Yeah.
Because they managed to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that it's not limited to 18 to 35-year-old males. That films like The Mummy seem to have proved positive that we don't want to go and see them. We don't want to see that.
No, I mean, hey, big studios look at the bottom line.
They do.
And they're going to look at that and they're going to say, oh, a female lead, a female director made us $600 million and counting. That's a formula for success.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And, and some of these movies that would have in the past done very well. I mean, Pirates of the Caribbean as well. I mean, that's always been, those have been big movies, but it didn't have a big opening this time. So, I think it's that it wasn't that they made it for someone. It's just they made a movie that didn't exclude people.
That's a great answer.
Yeah.
And I think they're correct.
Yeah. Because I don't think there are many movies that do that. I don't think.
No, they aim at somebody.
Yeah.
And
they need a target.
Yeah. And this has seemed to just hit. I never even thought about the political side of it until you mentioned Mr. Gump. But it's interesting that it's out of nowhere, just like killing every box office record.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the cool thing about movies is, it's a reflection of what's going on, and it's a comment on what's going on, and it's an opportunity for people to like just express how they feel about what's happening around them. So it's kind of cool. And maybe, 10 years from now, we'll look back at that movie and go, oh yeah, we remember that time and why that was so important to us.
Yeah.
We'll be on Wonder Woman 4 by then.
Yeah, exactly. It's been so successful. Believe me, and I mean, it's clearly written to have many sequels. So I think we could have this conversation probably every year from now.
No, that's great. And you know what? I think this time next week we'll be talking about the fact that Wonder Woman has done $1 billion worldwide. And I think the momentum of this movie is just gonna keep on going. So, thank you. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, thanks for having me, and hopefully we'll get another opportunity soon.
Sounds great. Thanks so much, Luann.
Pleasure, Luann. Thank you.
Yeah, Luann is often a contributor to the show, and it's so exciting. I think that it's almost reminiscent of when Easy Rider comes out in the late 60s. And it's the first independent film that does over $60 million. And all of a sudden people go, you don't need a studio to make your own movie? Wow, we didn't. We just got some film, we got a camera, and we shot this movie. And Easy Rider changes everything. And I wonder if in 20 years or 30 years, people will look back and go, Wonder Woman was that movie that shifted the consciousness and shifted us to not just do, male-oriented films.
Probably, possibly.
Yeah.
But you just said something that I didn't know. Easy Rider first, independent, not first, but
yeah, it's.
Right?
I think it's considered the first independent film.
So that the Blair Witch Project, same kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Right. So those things, I don't think they don't change it, because you don't see all these independent movies done with a video camera making it to the big screen. You see one every, I'm going to say 10 years, comes out of nowhere, Paranormal, whatever it was called, Activity.
That's right. The
I mean, I don't I don't know, but there's things that come along that we just go, wow, that's changed it. And then it changed it for a split second kind of thing. It gives hope that thousands of our filmmakers can throw a video camera in their hand, go out and, whether it be with music, whether it be with comedy, whether it be with drama, try and make a movie.
Yeah.
Do those movies end up somewhere? The ones that don't make it? Film festivals?
I think so. I think they do. What the perfect storm was with the Blair Witch was it was the first film to use the internet as a major jumping off place, which hadn't really happened before. It's in 99. The internet's 3 years old. No one had really done this. And now all of a sudden, you have a website, and it's got, this is lost footage from this story that happened in the woods in Massachusetts or wherever it was. I think it shifts our consciousness in ways that we go, whoa, I never even saw that. Now every movie has its own website, and every movie is trying to do that. But this, Blair Witch was the first, and I know exactly what you're saying because we never got a run of those movies on video.
Right, and
yeah,
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, and it was really kind of funny because it was the first. People believed that it was a real documentary.
Yeah,
you know, and that happened whenever they were doing, what was it, War of the Worlds?
That's right. Yeah,
over the radio.
That's right.
You know, so it seems like every time that there's a new direction, you know, it's like people
that's a great
believe.
point, Rachel. That is a great point.
Beautiful. Yeah,
it's this has been done before, and we've forgotten it, but someone's now doing it in a different way.
Yeah,
right.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I just thought it was really funny whenever you brought up Blair Witch. That was like the first place my mind went to.
Because there was doubt in our mind. What was this thing called the internet? We're 3 years in. We don't really know what this thing is yet. And we're just at the end of the 20th century. We're moving forward to the 21st century. But there's footage. Is this a movie? Or is it actually found footage? Because if this is found footage, we're in. All of a sudden, it captures your imagination. It captures your traffic on the internet. You're talking about it. People are thinking about it. I went opening night to see this movie because I wasn't sure what to think.
Yeah.
I loved it. Absolutely loved that movie. You could never reproduce it because we did that. But it's like War of the Worlds, as you said, Rachel. People were almost suicidal.
They believe.
Having heart attacks and thought, the aliens are here.
Hysterics.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's this mass hysteria. And that's the power, I think, that films have that theaters don't have, that live theater doesn't have. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
Because it's just playing in one theater.
That.
Those actors just doing that play in that theater. Whereas Wonder Woman is worldwide.
Worldwide. How many millions of people are watching it this
right
week?
Now? Yeah.
Tonight.
As we speak. Yeah.
As we speak.
And that's the amazing accessibility that we have, that the theater really limits us because we can only play to 500 or 600 people a night.
You know, and the internet has changed everything for sure.
Yeah.
And so many movies have put that in their movies. Some horror movies.
Yeah.
A lot of horror movies use the internet. I don't know which one it was. Where, you know, the more people that watch, the quicker this guy dies.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But that is what we're like. That's what people are like. Yeah. You know? Blair Witch, is it real? Let's have a look.
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
Yeah.
And that I wish I could remember the name of that movie, but we don't care that if I need to watch this, and if the guy dies, he's going to die, because that's what has happened to the world with social media.
Yeah.
Whether it be
Facebook,
Twitter, Instagram, it doesn't matter.
It's the power of that. It's the power of a great story. And we always say that. I mention that ad nauseum here, and I will always continue to do that because the story is everything that we have in a film. The two directors, they co-directed the new Han Solo movie that comes out a year from now. They're fired. They wrapped the show, and they were fired. And the reason they were fired is because the executive looked at the footage that had been shot, and they realized that these two directors had deviated from the script. Lawrence Kasdan was the writer of the new Han Solo movie. And if you don't know who Lawrence Kasdan is, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Empire Strikes Back, The Big Chill, the list goes on and on and on. He's one of the greatest writers. And these guys, they didn't care. They didn't care. They thought, you know what? We're going to just really run with this story and we'll do our own sort of thing.
So are they redoing it then?
No, Ron Howard was just brought in today, and he's gonna go in and fix it.
That's what I mean when I say
yeah. They may need to do reshoots and some pickups and what have you. But these two directors that had the chance, Dutchie, they had the World Cup and the FA Cup in their hands. He turned his head when he took that penalty and didn't care. He had it. No.
Don't get it.
No, I don't get it. The story is the story is the
especially
story.
when you're that far up in your industry and you know the ethics, you know them, and you choose to be an individual. You deserve what you get.
I think so.
I'm going to watch Star Wars this week.
Do it.
I want to watch Wonder Woman this week.
Yeah.
So we were talking. You opened the show with, "Have you seen a movie this week?"
Yes.
And my answer was no, but my true answer is yes, I did, and it was a 1992 movie. I watched Last of the Mohicans.
Yes.
And I'd never seen it before. And it was like a brand new movie to me because everyone had told me how fantastic it is. I'd bought it 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
I even had to unwrap it out of the Blu-ray package to play it. And it's been there that long. and again, you know, I watch at home on a 75-inch HD TV with surround sound. And I was in a movie theater. To me, I'm in a movie theater.
Yeah.
The acting in that movie, unbelievable. The story, unbelievable. I believe it won. Did it win Best Picture that year? Or Best Actor? I think he won. I think he won Best Actor for it.
I think so. I think he's won twice for that and for Lincoln. But
But
Daniel Day-Lewis is so good.
And then when you say, look at the difference between the part he played in that movie to Lincoln. How different could that have been?
And then another film where he wins another Oscar, My Left Foot. Did you ever see that movie?
No, never seen it.
Oh, he plays this disabled guy. Unbelievable. The range of that man is...
That's the thing about when you talk about actors is the range of what they can do. A true actor. Because you get the actors like Schwarzenegger. I'm sorry, I did call him an actor. Yeah, you know. But other actors who stay in that role. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be the tough guy. Yeah. I'm going to play a gangster, and then you get a guy like Pacino, right? I hope I got the right movie. When he was the blind guy.
Oh, Scent of a Woman.
Scent of a Woman. That was Pacino, right?
Yeah.
Right? That he could play with so much passion.
Yeah.
And make you cry. And make you think. Especially make you think.
Yeah.
You know, that blows me away. And that to me is a true actor. You know?
Yeah, it's the difference between a movie star and an actor.
Yeah.
And I would say there's a lot of... And we all have our favorite movie stars, and that's great.
Yeah.
But we also have our favorite actors, and those are the ones that we go back to that affect us on a level that we just can't even imagine.
Do the younger actors that you know of, are they doing theatre? And I bring... who's the two guys who did Ben Affleck and who was his partner?
Oh, Matt Damon.
Matt Damon, right? And they came... It wasn't Mr. Holland's Opus, was it?
No, it was Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting,
yeah.
Right, with Robin Williams.
That's right.
And they came from nowhere, absolutely nowhere. Yeah. And they've both turned into unbelievable actors.
Yeah.
I wonder if they do theatre.
I don't know. I don't think they do.
And what a shame if they don't, because I think they're talented enough that they could.
You know, for years I used to write off Scarlett Johansson. I just thought that she was just nice to look at, not really much skill. But, she's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's unbelievable. We have another caller. This is great.
Yeah, we have Danny. Danny is on line 1, and he said that he wanted to talk to you about Wonder Woman, I believe.
Great.
Yeah.
Hey, Danny, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hi, Danny. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you.
So you want to talk a little bit about Wonder Woman, do you?
Yeah.
What'd you think? Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it.
And what'd you think?
It was really great.
What'd you like about it? What was the piece that made you really enjoy it?
Danny, what's up, man? You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
So you call into the show. What did you want to talk about the movie? You know, give us some insight to your take on the movie.
Yeah. Well, I guess we lost him.
Yeah, I guess we did.
No.
I guess Wonder Woman came and swept him away.
She did indeed.
Well, I'm going to go and watch the movie, and then next week I'm calling in, and maybe I'll be swept away too.
You bet, indeed. And that's the thing. That's the thing that movies do, is they can sweep us away.
They can, you know, in many different ways.
Yeah.
Many different ways, you know.
Yeah.
It's entertainment can do that. The
Yeah.
whole entertainment industry.
Yeah.
I mean, we pay for it. We get what we pay for. I went to the Greek Theatre last Friday. Actually, I'm going to the Hollywood Bowl this Monday.
Oh, nice.
To see Queen. And I swore I'd never go and see Queen because Freddie Mercury's not the singer.
But Adam Lambert
But
is.
Adam Lambert is. And you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Entertainment, whether it be movie, whether it be home movie, whether it be theatre, it's the most, it can move people in the most amazing way.
Yeah, I think so.
The beginning of your show moves me every time.
It's you know what? And we thank Ohio Bob for that intro, because it's a fantastic piece, and it's there's a quote from almost every one of my top 10 favorite films.
I got Fight Club in there. I've never seen it.
Oh,
Really?
I love
Yeah.
Fight
You
Club
have-
is so good.
Yes, it really is.
It's
What's the first rule?
first rule of Fight Club is there is no Fight Club. Second rule, no. First rule of Fight Club
You
is
better
there-
get this right. Don't get this wrong. Don't get it wrong.
Oh no!
You're not a part of Fight Club anymore.
No, I'm out. That's the first rule. For
No, that's
me.
the
You
fifth
are
rule.
done with
You're
Fight
done.
Club. Leave Fight Club. No, first rule of Fight Club is don't talk about Fight Club. Second rule of Fight Club is do not talk about Fight Club. Third rule of Fight Club is if it's your first night, you have to fight. And then I think the fourth rule of Fight Club is you have to take off your shoes and socks.
Oh, there you go.
Yes. That's the only way I walk around.
Yeah, just shoes and socks. Just keep it cool. I know. It's 9 o'clock.
I know, it's unreal.
We really could go 3 hours and sometimes 4 hours with this show, and maybe we will one day.
Yeah, maybe we'll have
We'll do a
marathon. Yeah.
We'll do a whole month's worth of shows in one night, and we'll finish and then still go. Yeah, we still got lots to talk about.
I did get a Jeopardy question right last night because of you.
Oh, what was it?
What month was Star Wars released in?
Oh, look at that.
So there we go. I'm like, mate.
What is
mate? Oh, yeah, what is? I'm sorry, I didn't phrase
You
it
didn't
right.
say
did.
what is.
No, I was in the first round. I'm good.
In closing, you mentioned Jeopardy. I'm going to do at the Canadian consulate because it's Canada's birthday. 150th birthday on the 1st of July. So we're 150 years old. And Alex Trebek is going to be at this event.
Ah.
And I want to get my picture taken with him because I admire him so much.
So do I.
He's the best.
Yeah.
He's
Who is
a top guy.
Alex Trebek?
Who is the coolest guy who came out of Canada.
God, no, it's not him. No.
No, he's not the coolest guy. Once again, a real pleasure.
It is a pleasure, man.
You make my Thursdays. You
I
really do.
look forward to the show.
Absolutely do. I always come in with a game plan. And I know that when I get here, my game plan is going to be thrown out the window and it'll be more fun talking to you. I should learn a lesson because I spend a lot of time doing these. So we're done, Rachel, aren't we?
Yeah, I believe that's...
We got to lock the door and close up shop for the
I want
night.
to thank Luann for calling.
Thank you, Luann, for calling in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to get that insight, right?
Yeah, and then Danny called back too. Unfortunately, I told him that we were ending the show.
Oh yeah, and thanks Danny for calling.
Hey Danny, thank you so much. Call in next week, and we'll get you on for sure. That's it.
Are we having anything special coming up next week, or
Rich Kenyon?
Yeah, and Dutchie and Rachel. What more do you need?
That's it.
What more do you need? Well, thank you so much for listening to the Director's Cut here on chaoticradio.com and on the worldwide interweb on YouTube. Thanks, guys, for watching us and for listening. And, as we always say around here, go see a movie.